First, the new at 9, a Springfield man will spend 35 years behind bars for his role in a deadly downtown shooting. Cesar Bolanos was sentenced to 25 years for first-degree murder and 10 for armed criminal action. He will serve those sentences back to back. Now, he had 6 other charges dismissed as part of his plea deal, including assault and unlawful use of a weapon. In November of 2023, a group opened fire on Chavez Wynn and his then pregnant girlfriend, who were in their car in downtown Springfield. Wynn died, but his girlfriend and child survived. Now, there are 5 men charged in this case, and 2 have already been through the court system. Elisha Bedell was sentenced to life in prison, and through a plea deal, Timothy Hester will be sentenced to 50 years in prison. The other 2 men charged are due in court later this year.